Oh man, I had a great dream last night about Jingliu. I wonder how the Pride Wins tier list is looking. Where's Jingliu? Huh? What's going on? No, this can't be. Look, maintaining the agenda is our top priority, but before that, let's talk about why Jingliu isn't doing so hot right now. I want to say that tier lists aren't the end all be all, but they are generally pretty accurate in regards to how a character is currently doing in the meta. Looking at the Pride Win one, I mostly agree with it, even with Jingliu moving down a tier. My only gripe is that they haven't moved Kafka Black Swan down a tier yet and Topaz up. It's gonna happen soon, I'm just saying. Sorry, that's off topic. Back to Jingliu. First, I'll quickly address the two main reasons why I've heard she's struggling right now, and after which I'll get to the real culprit. I'm not going to talk about how the enemies aren't ice weak or ice resistant or anything enemy related, I just want to explain how it is in a vacuum. The first thing I've heard is that she has such high self buffs and not enough scaling that with future buffers, she just doesn't benefit as much and as such is easily prone to power creep. I'm just going to give a TLDR for this part as there's too many ways to go about it and I also think it's not that important. So while the statement is pretty true, Jingliu has actually really good scaling for the enhanced skill and ult with 500 and 600 respectively in a 3 target scenario. So yes, while you won't be benefiting as much from attack anymore, nowadays there's a lot of different types of buff that aren't just attack percent, such as damage bonus. Comparing to Ratio, he can at best give himself 50% damage bonus with 5 debuffs and 15 crit rate and 30 crit damage. His skill plus follow-up scaling is also combined to be 420. Everything is less than Jingliu's. If you're gonna say that Ratio is good because it could be in a duo DPS team or that Jingliu isn't benefiting too much from attack, that's true. But again, it's not that important in the grand scheme of things as you'll soon understand. The reason why I'm comparing her to someone like Dr. Ratio and instead of Acheron is because Acheron has insane scaling and also insane self buffs. The way this is balanced is because Acheron is assumed to be used in a 2 Nihility team, as Nihility units generally damage amber less than what Harmony units can do. The second point, she has gotten 0 teammates or relic buffs the entirety of 2.0. We can see how game changing getting certain characters can be. Like Ratio and Topaz, when they were released, they were pretty okay, but then soon fell off. Then they added Robin and Adventuring, and now it's arguably the best MOC team. For Dot and Kafka, they were also pretty underwhelming when released, but with Black Swan and the Dot Relic set, they became pretty okay. Firefly has gone to Iron Cavalry set and a Harmony MC, and what has Jingliu gotten since release? Ruan Mei as a replacement for Pela. But everyone wants Ruan Mei. This guy here says the best.
And it's absolutely not helping that there has not been a single support that has come out in the last few updates that have been good for her. In fact, literally all of them have had anti-synergy with her, which means she's only getting worse with time. Because as if the DPS power creep wasn't already bad enough, now we have her unable to work with pretty much anybody except a damn near identical roster from what she was using back on her release.
As such, most people are still rocking Bronya, Pela, and maybe even Luocha still. And that's where the big issue is. So let's go down one by one, starting with Luocha. Luocha at the time was a must-have healer as the alternative was either Bailu or Natasha. Enough said. But when it comes to today's meta, many sustains can contribute to their teams in regards to damage or increasing their damage. For Acheron, an E0S1 or Trend Adventuring directly helps her get stacks. Firefly and Break have Gallagher and soon to be Ling Sha to help Break to let the DPSs deal good damage. Follow-up attack and the Rat team has Adventuring, not too much to be said there. Dot utilizes Huohuo pretty well, granting more attack and ults. Now what does Luocha do? He can heal. How much damage does he add? Next to none, even with my DPS Luocha. Next is Pela. What? But Pela's so good! Yes, she's a good unit, but honestly in today's meta, it's just not enough anymore, and there's two main reasons. The first is that her damage amp simply is not that much anymore because she's competing with the likes of Ruan Mei and Robin in that slot. Is it fair? No, but that's just how it is. So the question is, how much of a damage loss is it? Well, let's just go to MOC 12 real quick. I'll quickly skim over my Pela and Ruan Mei build. I do have an E6 S5 Pearls Pela and an E1 S1 Ruan Mei. So my Jingliu has 100 crit rate, so don't worry, the test will be very consistent. My Jingliu's raw damage against these targets is around 98,000. Now let's see how Pela does if we use her skill and her ultimate. As you can see, with my Jingliu skill, we get around 155,000. Now we can see with Ruan Mei and her ult and skill, we go to 201,000. So it's a 58% damage increase with Pela and a 105% damage increase with Ruan Mei. So that's a really big damage difference, but even then that's forgivable. What's not forgivable is how Pela's uptime is so bad in MOC 12, especially for Jingliu. And before you say skill issue or like get a better build, here, let me just quickly go over a build. And okay, if that's not good enough, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what is. So let me explain myself using some gameplay. So in the beginning, Pela buff will be up for all of Jingliu's attacks. But due to how freeze works, Pela's buff will essentially instantly run out, and then we will have to recast the ult. But after recasting the ult and killing the enemies, we can see that, well, for the next phase, we don't have Pela ult. We're doing 2 enhanced skills with no Pela ult, and all our damage is gone. Okay, so now knowing what we know that our sustain slot is not that good for Jingliu right now. Essentially, Luocha is doing nothing. And for Pela, well, she's also not performing the best in MOC right now, but we can just upgrade to Ruan Mei. Well, the team looks pretty complete. We just need a better sustain, and that should be it, right? There shouldn't be any issues with Bronya, right? I mean, she's Jingliu's best teammate. She fixes all her issues. No, she's actually the issue. What? But how is this possible? Just because Bronya is Jingliu's best partner doesn't mean that they are a good partner. Now, what does this mean? Essentially, while Bronya is really good at fixing Jingliu's issues, aka uptime, because being outside transmigration state means no damage, she is really bad elsewhere. Using the most optimal setup with Bronya being slightly slower than Jingliu and always skilling, it's pretty good. But guess what? Half of Jingliu's attack won't ever be buffed by Bronya and her light cone, a 50% uptime with the skill. Unless you got E6, then good for you. Not jealous or anything. Comparing this to literally everyone else in their premium supports with basically 100% uptime, this is really bad. Okay, and look, I understand getting 2 actions essentially doubles your damage, but quite frankly speaking, for Jingliu, it's just not enough anymore. Let's see how much Jingliu does raw, and it seems like 97,000. And then with Bronya's skill, it goes to 140,000. The skill alone is a 44% damage increase, but with it only being 50% uptime, it's more like 22%. Again, I know this is excluding that you're getting a whole nother turn, okay? And guess what? It's not even the worst part. It's actually the goddamn ult. Bronya's ult does a lot. It buffs so damn much. But guess what? It doesn't exist with Jingliu. It works like half of a third of a time. Jingliu really sucks with buffs that are reliant on her turn. I assume if you used Bronya and Tingyun before, you would understand that, yeah, Tingyun's benediction or her skill, it disappears so fast.
Hello, Mrs. Farnickel. How are you today? Making a deposit, are we? Great. We can just put that into your retirement account and make it go to work for you, and it's gone.
What?
Okay, but first, how much does the ult actually buff Jingliu? I mean, a decent amount, right? I mean, sure, half of its attack and the other's crit damage, and Jingliu already has so much already, but like, still, 130,000. A 34% damage increase. We are getting a 44% damage increase from the skill, and you're telling me a freaking ultimate is buffing less than a goddamn skill? And good luck now wasting your precious 2 turns outside transmigration state, because I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. So Pela with a 58% damage increase that is active either 50% or 100% of the time. Bronya only buffing like 50% of the time of a 44% damage increase skill. And now an okay ult that buffs less than the skill and lasts for 2 seconds.
4 fucking seconds! It took you 4 fucking seconds to piss me off again!
So Jingliu right now struggles to stack buffs. But what does max buffs even look like with a sustain? Well, let's see how all of Ruan Mei and Bronya buffs look like. A 350k skill. So how do we fix this? Well, we can't retroactively fix characters, so there's only one thing to do. Make some new characters that fix our old issues. The first is a Bronya Pro Max. Not Sparkle 2.0, Bronya Pro Max. This will be a new character that provides a 100% action advance, and their buffs are based on their own turn. This includes their ultimate. So just imagine a Bronya and a Ruan Mei had a kid. This is what Jingliu needs. Is this OP? Yes. Is it ever happening? Maybe. Probably not. But we can at least dream. The next will be a new sustain. Perhaps one that buffs and converts crit rate to another stat like damage bonus or crit damage, similar to the overcritting blessing in the simulated universe. This could really help out someone like Yanqing and Jingliu, and if they were abundance, then it'd favor Jingliu, and if they were preservation, then that could totally help a Yanqing. You add these two, and the best Luofu Swordmasters will be back in the town. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed. We're actually almost at 400 subscribers and may even hit the 500 mark soon enough. And I just want to say thank you for all of this. Hopefully you tune into my next video, which may be about Fei Xiao and the version 2 patch notes for 2.5. Thank you again and peace.